brother. How you doing, man?
I think I've been better at times, man. But I'm gonna leave it like this. I guess if you're a Cowboys fan, you have something to look forward to on the weekends. One, they've been pretty well. And if you're an Astros fan, you may maybe get down 1 game to 2 in the World Series, but you still have an opportunity to come back home and look good doing that. So right now, I think mediocre is the word. When you're sitting at 4-4, mediocre is the word. And then I'll turn it back over to you, and then we'll kind of get into this. But ladies and gentlemen, on this chat, you know what to do. Hey, vent all you want to in the comments. Do what you got to do. Me and Jeremy will reply to some of them, but we're also probably going to get on here and vent as well.
Yeah, so I kind of talked about it last night in our pregame show. Like 4-4, going to Iowa State was not where I wanted to be. And it continues to be the same song and dance every single week. Like you grab a lead in the first quarter, you cannot sustain that lead through 4 quarters of football. You don't play combinated football. You don't. The second half game plan doesn't look the same as the first half game plan, and it's hard, man. And like you said, I'm looking forward to Sunday night against the Minnesota Vikings. At this point, you're looking forward to Houston Astros versus Atlanta Braves tonight, and Sam's looking to get the hell out of here. Like, we are done, dude. Like, I'm going to be quite honest with you. Like, I felt this team could be 10-2. They're 4-4, and I think they're on the way to 7-6 or 6-7.
I think it's plausible at this point. Me and you were kind of talking before we came on here, so I kind of want to bring up some of these points here. You were talking about recruiting rankings, and how I think our show is focused on recruiting as well, because again, that's the lifeline of your program. But I think, as fans, and you hope that the team doesn't have the same take on it, is that because you have high recruiting rankings, or you finish top 5, top 10, top 15, or whatever the case may be, that you're just going to roll your helmet out each and every weekend. You're going to be better than the teams that you're playing. And I feel like that's when you watch the comments, or you listen to people, or you're looking at the chat, that it really goes down that it's like, wow, I can't believe we didn't beat Baylor. Well, how the hell is Cincinnati in the damn top 5? You know what I'm saying? How is Iowa in the top 5 or the top 10? How is Michigan State, in the top 10? Go look at those guys' recruiting rankings. And I don't think it always comes down to recruiting rankings. I think it comes down to the best players to fit your schemes, but it also comes with a winning mentality. With a, hey, you know what? I got to go out here and improve myself each week because I wasn't ranked a high 4-star or high 5-star.
You can't give a shit about that. I mean, I need to watch my language, but at the same time, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I talked to you about, the recruiting rankings, and the in-game chat was how we losing to number 16 Baylor on the road. Guess what? They're the number 16 team in the country. You're unranked. There's a reason for that, because you lost 3 football games before this game even started. And do I feel like we have more talent than Baylor? Absolutely. But have we played to that echelon or that standard? Absolutely not. We haven't. And so it's just like, I'm tired of people thinking that Texas is a better football team because they have Texas. They wear burnt orange. They have Texas on their chest, and they have a Longhorn on their helmet. That's not the case anymore, man. You got to play these opponents, whether it's Big 12, and now you're going to SEC in 2 years. Like, you're not ready to compete with those caliber football teams at this point. Like, we shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid to be ranked. We shouldn't be afraid to be a favorite. Like, that's not a thing for me.
Hey, Jeremy, do me a favor. Tap that thing on the bottom of your mic. I think that thing is probably loose a little bit, so it keep pushing you in and out there. I think that was what it was last time, right? It was that little thing down there.
I fixed it.
Yeah. So again, let's talk about implosion. I think implosion is what you see consistently over the last really 3 games. It is really implosion in the second half. I think Steve Sarkisian needs to be playing checkers instead of chess. And what I mean by is when we get behind the chains, 1st and 15, or we get to 2nd and 10, I think he's so far along in the play calls and what he wants to do to move the ball down the field that we can't consistently get to the next down without being behind the chains.
Yeah. When 𝗟𝗞𝗘 took a false step and got to 2nd and 15, you knew that drive was over, essentially. Because, and yes, did we have drop balls on that possession by Marcus Washington? Absolutely we did. By Joshua Moore, absolutely we did. But at the same time, like, you have to trust your weapons. Like, you have to be fine with 2nd and 6. You have to be fine, with moving the ball progressively down the field over and over again. And like you said, he has to understand where he is in down and distance and where his defense is. 31 points again. Like, I'm tired of this defense. Like, we talk bend don't break. Like, they've broken. Like, they consistently give up touchdowns over and over and over again. When we talked about last game that they weren't on the football field for the second half, and for this game, and they still gave up touchdowns. Like, time of possession was not a thing like it was against Oklahoma State. It wasn't a thing like it was against Oklahoma. Like,
I wrote these numbers down, man, because this is the last drive that Baylor had the ball on offense to give our team an opportunity to go back and score to tie that game up. I'm going to give you the numbers here. 90, 93, 95, 46, 18, 41, and 0. That was your front seven. That needs to be your front seven moving forward. To me, Murphy's playing better than those guys that have been in the program for 3 or 4 years. Consistently he's a ball hawk from where he's at on that defensive line, man. So to me, moving forward, that is again, it's going to have some young guys in there, which at this particular point, do you find yourself in let's start playing young guys, man, to get them experience?
Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of talking about Keandre Coburn. I'm tired of talking about, T'Vondre Sweat. Like, at this point, like, you got to get guys in there that they're going to push the pocket. Like, they have to put pressure on the quarterback from the interior. Like we talked about last night, it's consistently, they get pushed back against the run. They consistently don't put pressure on the quarterback. Like, at this point, you have to figure out if Jamon Tapp, I want to push that button. This is Texas basketball talk. And you know that we are homers and burn orange till the day is done. But at this point, like, I don't know what to say, man. And it's not the coaching staff, it's the players. Like, I feel like they don't make plays when they're put in position to make plays. Like, this roster is not what we thought it was in August. It's not. On the offensive line, it's not. On the defensive line, it's not. In secondary, it's not. Wide receiver core is not the same. Like, the only guys that I felt like at this point who have held up there into the bargain is the running back room. And that's because of Bijan Robinson. Everybody else has underperformed.
Yeah, I look at it like this, man. You're absolutely underperformed. So yeah, I pulled this up because me and we were talking about it. The two things we have to look forward to in the future is men's basketball, and I think ladies basketball is probably going to be just as good. They're usually up there and got a good team there. But almost spring ball. You almost start floating forward to January so that you can get to spring ball so that we can overhype the program again coming into the summer and overhype them again to show up and lay an egg consistently again, year over year over year over year. So me and you as this channel, I think we have to come out of spring ball and come out of summer ball, maybe take those burnt orange glasses off and almost start saying, well, hey, you know what, we're probably going to finish 500. And if we finish over 500, we probably – it's kind of where I'm at this particular point, man.
Absolutely, dude. Like, we believed in these players because, again, like, and we've given them that pass. Like, folks are on the chat talking about you can't be the players because they've gone through 3 coaching staffs. Like, we wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, they've gone through Chris Ash. They've gone through Todd Orlando. They've gone through Pete Kwiatkowski. On the offensive side, they've gone through Tim Beck. They've gone through Mike Yurcich. They've gone through Steve Sarkisian. But at a certain point, like, you have to hold the players accountable for missed blocks, missed tackles, and we're not those guys. Like I said, we want this program to do well. We want these young athletes to do well. But at this point, you're 4-4. You're going to Iowa State. You're probably gonna lose that football game. You're gonna be 4-5, and where are you going from there?
Yeah, I think again, you're talking about 3 coordinators, 3 head coaches. There's only a few of the guys that probably had 3 head coaches at this particular point, probably had more position coaches than the hell 3 with all the firing that's been going on. So I think it does come down to players fitting schemes. I think they have to, as coaches, they have to run the schemes that they run. And if the players don't fit those schemes and then the players can't fit to those schemes, then I think you have to look at, the future. Because again, I'm not going in on let's fire Sarkisian after his first year at 4-4. I'm definitely not going there. Do I think these guys are proven winners? Absolutely, they're proven winners. Somebody asked a while ago, when's the last team that ran a 3-4 and made it to a national championship? I don't know. 𝗟𝗞𝗘 𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗜𝗕𝗘 ran a 3-4, the same defense he's running now with Texas at Washington, and they played pretty damn good against Alabama in the semifinal game a few years back for the championship.
Yeah, it's just you don't know where at this point. I don't know where where to go. I really don't know if it's the players don't fit the scheme or the scheme doesn't fit the players. At this point, what I do know is we're 4-4, and I had we go on 20 minutes after the game is ended. We don't understand, or haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch how the defensive line performed, the offensive line performed. But what I do know is that this coaching staff and players are 4-4 at this point against team. And at this point, I felt like we'd be 7-1. I felt like we would lose to Oklahoma, and it would beat every other football game that we had.
Yeah, Mike Shapiro, we are where we are, and at that particular point, you sit at 4-4 as a mediocre football team right now. But I think this is important to understand too. It's the first year. Did you expect a 180? It sucks to watch, but come on, let's be realistic fans. Absolutely. Did I think we were probably going to finish 9-3, 10-2? Absolutely. As a Texas fan, I think that's where that fanaticism comes in. Do I think you had the talent? Did the hype train with Steve Sarkisian and the offense that he runs probably boost that a lot? The way that people talk about PK as a defensive coordinator probably boosted that a little bit. But at the same time, I don't think you were going to see. I didn't think you were going to be at 4-4 right now. But I also didn't think you were going to get 100% of what they were going to show moving on year after year after year. Can you hear me?
Throw a comment up there. Yeah.
Okay.
I've said all I need to say, man. I don't know where we're at, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Rob PK has to have the cornerbacks guard the line on those 3rd and 5 or more. Baylor was playing pitch and catch in those situations, but I don't think you have a true lockdown corner that can play man up. That's just I don't think that. When's the last time that Texas had a true corner that you could put on one-on-one on an island and you didn't have to worry about a receiver?
Probably Holton Hill.
Probably Holton Hill, right? Holton Hill, yeah.
Chris Boyd, maybe.
Maybe Chris Boyd. He got burned over the top a couple of times, but those guys playing in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the last time you had a cornerback that you could put on an island and not have to worry about a wide receiver during that football game. I don't think Josh Thompson and Deshaun Jameson can give you that. If you get beat off the line and a guy's got a five-yard head start on you, it's almost say la vie, throw it over the top of their head, and you're burnt.
You got players that just want to be on the team and not want to play. I like I said, I have a hard time believing that these kids, I definitely want to give them a pass. Like I said, they're Stead at the University of Texas is probably like none other. When they go through 3 offensive coordinators, 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years. But at the same time, at some point, you have to, as seniors, as upperclassmen, you have to beat your man, regardless of scheme. You're lining up. Keandre Coburn is lining up against a guard center combo every single game. Cook is lining up against a slot receiver every single game. DeMarvin Overshown is lining up against a running back and or tight end every single game. You have to start making plays. If these are 4- and 5-star recruits, the roster, we talked about, you have to start making plays. I'm tired of talking about coaching staff and changes. These athletes have to be held accountable for their play at this point. Let me let Sam out.
No, quick. Absolutely. And I think this is what Jeremy's getting to. And I really hope Texas Football Talk isn't making excuses for the coaches. I don't think it's so much excuses. I think these coaches are proven winners, man. They've been at the top of their game. So
with every other roster they've ever been a part of.
With every other roster. Again, mano a mano, you have to beat your guy. And from the offensive line standpoint, hell, if you can't give the quarterback on a screen pass, which you're blocking for less than a second, and then he has an opportunity, which I thought was a damn good play call, especially in the defense in which they had, talking about that screen with Bijan Robinson, because if you would have hammered, if you would have got that damn screen, Bijan probably would have ran for the next 3 years. So I thought it was a hell of a play call. But if you're talking about on a screen pass, you're giving up pressure to the point where he can't make the damn a 2-yard pass to Bijan on a screen.
Interior pressure. Yeah,
I was thinking about this. Go ahead, Jeremy.
67, dude. 67. Like everybody begged for, somebody to sit down and put 67 in. 𝗟𝗚𝗞𝗘 𝗦𝗧. Not the answer, man. It's not the answer. It definitely is not the answer. But that's not Tope's fault. Tope's been in this program for 6 years, like you talked about. It's the 𝗟𝗚𝗞𝗘 the Tyler Johnsons, the guys that we've been talking about on this channel for a year now. Like, why are you not cracking the starting lineup? Why did we have to go to a 6-year senior? Because you have the inability to perform or crack the starting lineup. Like, I'm tired of giving these 5-star recruits a pass and blaming it on coaches. Like, I'm done, dude.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought here, but I was thinking about this, man. I was thinking about this at halftime. I was like, your line is below average, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what would your offense look like with an average to good line? This line, honestly, the offensive line doesn't have to be great. They don't. I don't think that an offensive line has to be great in Steve Sarkisian's offense when you have the weapons you have, right? And a running back like Bijan, because he's going to make your offensive line go from good to great. How good would this offense be if you gave, again, let's talk about Marcus Washington, right? Marcus Washington, he was wide ass open. That's a schemed play that Sarkisian had, right? Or a busting coverage. But you don't give your quarterback enough time to hit a guy open across the middle. The other one, the fluttered ball. Go back and look at how much duress that Casey Thompson was under so that he couldn't get his feet set before he had to throw that ball that was fluttering that eventually led to him being out. And I think that comes with, how many seconds he feels like he has in the pocket before he has to make a move. I'm glad he used his feet today, by the way. I'm glad he used his feet.
It's not going to change, though. Like, these guys aren't going to get better over the next 4 weeks. Like guys are talking about, like, you got to go to the transfer portal at this point to solidify that room. Like, the defensive line, the interior rush is not going to get better until you go to the transfer portal and get better. But I just don't understand, like Casey Thompson, like you said, used his feet in moments. But there were a couple opportunities late in that game in the fourth quarter where I thought he needed to take off, and because he wasn't getting any time. He wasn't getting any time, and his receivers weren't getting open. Like Xavier Worthy got open in the first half, moments. But after that, he was running for, like you said, they weren't getting open. He was running for his life, and he had to make plays.
I think this is where Terry Freeman's talking about. O-line is terrible. Absolutely. You imagine. I can't think about it because we don't have it. If you had, an offensive line that was durable, that was going to get you through a game, one. Number two, wide receivers are below average. I can tell you that, again, I think it all comes back to offense. I think it comes back to the offensive line. Because if you give your quarterback an opportunity to throw the ball, I think you have talented wide receivers. I think you really do. Is Marcus Washington Whittington? Absolutely not. Is more Xavier Worthy? Absolutely not. Do I think you can upgrade at those positions? Absolutely you can. And I think that's an opportunity to, either go into the transfer portal and I think that's where it starts. Really, I think that outside of recruiting, I think transfer portal is where it starts and where I think it ends this year in January.
I put up a lot of comments over the last couple of minutes, right?
Yeah.
This is garbage. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, sorry, not sorry at Texas Football Talk. When we out-recruit everybody in the Big 12 every year, the talent is there. I'm sorry, dude. You're getting beat by Baylor. You're getting consistently beat by TCU. You won this year, but you were 2-9 against them. Like, you're not better than anybody else in this conference, dude. I'm tired of this talk. Like, You are the reason why these kids feel like they could roll their helmet out week after week after week and beat Baylor, TCU, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, and they continue to lose. Like, recruiting to me, 5-star, and this is a channel that really enjoys recruiting, has talked to guys like Jonte Cook, has talked to Connor Robertson, has talked to Hayden Connor, has talked to football players on this football team and love these kids. But at the same time, like, these kids, 5-star, 4-star kids, aren't coming to this campus and playing like that because they continue to get beat by those guys, those rosters that are 2 and 3 stars consistently.
Talent loses year after year after year after year after year. I would love.
It's not a coaching problem.
It's not analytics, and I would love for somebody to go back and look at the analytics. Yeah, you're going to have the Alabamas are going to be the outliers. You're probably going to have the Ohio States. You're probably going to have the Georgias, who actually probably been the top recruiting class versus average that eventually showed up this year, probably after having the top recruiting class over the last 3 or 4 years, but couldn't put it together. Again. But you got the guys like Iowa, you got the guys like Michigan State, you got the guys that, hell, at Cincinnati. I think if you put Cincinnati up against any of those Power 5 schools in the top 5, I think they'll give them a run for their money. How much talent do they have? I would love to go back and look at Cincinnati's average talent. It's having a winner's mentality. It's having a winning mentality. It's coming in, knowing day one, yes, I came to a program that's supposed to be prestigious that's lacked prestigious, probably on the verge of probably losing blue blood status year after year after year with losing seasons, that they shouldn't come out with that mentality anymore. They need to act like they're playing at Baylor, or they're playing at TCU, or they're playing at Iowa State, because those guys are obviously being developed, no lack of development, absolutely 100%. Those guys are being developed to be able to play at the level in which they're playing you.
But this is garbage, dude. So what this guy's trying to say, no, a lack of development, is on this coaching staff. Again, I will say the only recruit that this coaching staff has at present that belongs to them is Xavier Worthy. That is the only high school recruit that this coaching staff has to their ledger. Yes, they have linebackers that they recruited by the transfer portal, but these are not their kids, man. These are not their guys. So to blame them for a lack of development by 𝗟𝗚𝗞𝗘 𝗦𝗧, who's a 6-year senior who's gone through Herb Hand and multiple offensive line coaches, and talking about BJ Foster, who's gone through multiple defensive back coaches, it's not their fault, dude. Like, you could stop blaming the coaches and start blaming the kids at this point. Like, at some point, you have to be your man. I'm tired of talking about it. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, you've gone through Chris Ash. You've gone through, Tartar Orlando. You've gone through now Pete Kwiatkowski. At some point, you have to have some kind of accountability for your play.
Yeah.
Coaches aren't to blame, man. I'm done.
This guy, get Baylor, our players with their coaches, and they play for a natty. Okay, all right. So our guys, you take all of our guys and you put them at Baylor in those defensive schemes and offensive schemes. Do they fit? Do they fit? It's not just about talent. It's not just about getting a guy on your team that's going to come out here and be able to play to the level in which they're playing. Do they fit your scheme? Do they fit Dave Aranda's scheme? Do they fit their offensive coordinator's scheme? So you're telling me that you could take the offensive line of Texas and give them to Baylor and they're going to be better? Hell no. Absolutely not. No, I don't. I'm at a loss of words if you think your offensive line gets that much better at any other program. They're average at best.
Clown. Yeah, they're not. Like, and people want to talk about Connor Robertson and Cole Hudson and these low 4-star, 3-star recruits that we have in the 2022 class. Guess what? We've met them. We know them. I don't have any kind of wherewithal that's going to tell me when Connor Robertson and Cole Hudson walks on campus in Austin in the summer that they're going to be about business. The same way we know Hayden Connor was about business and why he's about to crack the starting lineup at this point. It's about, getting after it at this point. Steve Sarkisian is burning the midnight oil trying to get the best players in this program. He has the number 6 recruiting class with a 4-4 record at this point. Like, it's not the coaching staff. It's not their ability to recruit. It's not their ability to develop. It's not their ability to scheme. It's about these kids not being ready to play football for 60 minutes on Saturday.
Give credit where credit is due. William A. Jones, I think we need to give the Big 12 more credit for having some pretty damn good teams this year. Absolutely. I talked to Jeremy today. I think this morning I was walking my dog. I gave Jeremy a call, and I was talking about how many teams you play currently or will be playing that are all in the top 30.
Yeah.
I think over 50% of the teams currently that you have on your schedule in Germany is that's why the ESPN FPI has you so high at like number 11 because you played teams. I think half of your teams you're going to play, if not more, are going to be in the top 30 or currently in the top 30 of the AP poll right now. So I think you're right. I think at some point, we have to get off what Texas just lost because they, lost. And I think we have to start giving credit to some of these football teams that just beat your ass. Excuse my French.
Yeah. No. Don't excuse your French. Like, I'm tired of that, dude. Like, I'm tired of fans in the in-game chat thinking that we're going to roll out there and beat football teams like number 16 on the road consistently without the roster that we thought we had, in the summer. And we're to blame for that. And I'll take accountability for that. Like, I thought this defensive line was better. I thought this offensive line, what I saw them against K-State and Colorado, was better. I thought the running back room was better. I thought the quarterback, watching him play against Colorado, Casey Thompson was my guy. Like, I felt like this team had the ability to be 10-2. They don't. They're 4-4. And I really don't think at this point they're going to find themselves any better than 6-6, 7-6, 6-7.
This is spot on, man. Good team is Big 12, but not getting any easier in the SEC. We need to pause that shit for about a year or two is what I'm thinking. I'm definitely in January. I'm hoping we don't get an SEC schedule. As a Texas fan, moving forward, do I want to go play the best of the best and the best of the best in college football? Absolutely. Year in, year out. Do I want to go to the SEC? 100%. I'm telling you, I'm on board for that. But I'm hoping it's one more year in the Big 12 to allow Steve Sarkisian and PK to work through what they need to do and get some guys like they've gone out. I think they've recruited 7 guys that are currently in the trenches in this recruiting class and get these guys working before we actually, head east.
Yeah. Hit the like button, guys. Good, honest content here, man. You're always going to get it. And it's as real as it get because, again, it's 15 minutes post-whistle. After the last – I don't have any stats up. Like, I can't tell you. I feel like Casey Thompson played a good game through the first 3 quarters. I feel like he was 16 of 20 for 220 at some point. But at the end of it, you found a way to lose 31 to 24. And it sucks. Your team is 4-4. And you lost 3 games in a row to teams that you probably should have beat. So you're always going to get real content here. And how does it affect recruiting? I have no idea. You can't continue to lose and expect like guys like Evan Stewart, Devon Campbell, and all Cam Dewberry to come play football at the University.
Starts and stops in the transfer portal. You better believe it. It's going to start. Recruiting's going to start in the transfer portal come January, and it's going to stop around springtime in the transfer portal. Because if I'm already lining up guys that I need to have a conversation with, and say you're the piece of the puzzle that I need moving forward. So I think we're about 29 minutes in here. We wanted to let y'all get on here and vent for about 30 minutes. I think me and Jim are going to go about our day. Like I said, hey, if you're a Houston Nationals fan, you have something to look forward to. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, I think you have something to look forward to. If you're a Texas men's basketball fan, you have something to really look forward to. Every other sport on the University of Texas campus that is doing really, really well, to include, I think, the number 1 volleyball team, right? And I think that the girls soccer team, I think, is currently ranked or is I think number 2 in the Big 12 tournament going into, I think that's this weekend or if not next weekend, I'm not sure. So I think they're the number 2 seed in the Big 12 soccer tournament as well. Yeah, I think you're right on here, William A. Jones. Without soccer, you have 0 chance at Arch Manning, 100%. I think a lot of these guys that are in play this year, you had 0 chance of getting if you would have kept the previous coach around. And I think that's what it all comes back to, because he's personable. He's honest with himself. He's honest with the media. And I think that's what it takes to be a coach of the University of Texas. So there you go.
Cowboys.
Yep. So, hey, let me put this up here real quick. We're glad y'all joined us after that terrible, loss, 3 in a row here. Let me put our information up here. See if I can find it. So you know where to find us. If you were watching us right now, I think there's 95 people in here. Please hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel. This is going to be meet me at the cooler talk every time we have an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And I think moving forward, I think being brutally honest about this football team is the way that it needs to happen. And I think that's with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I think not just doesn't start with us or any other YouTube content creators. I think that's with everybody moving forward and having to dilute what you think is what you really see until you actually see it. I think that's where we're currently at. So, hey, you can find us at Facebook at Texas Football Talk, at Instagram at Texas Football Talk, and you can find us on Twitter at Texas Football Talk. You can find our podcast on any of the podcast apps, Spotify, Apple, or Stitcher. You can find us at Texas Football Talk, part of the Pigskin Podcast Network. And if you look at the top up there, DraftKings, if you type in promo code TPPN, there will be a special up there. Go ahead, Jeremy. Oh, he's pointing it up there. But we appreciate y'all listening as always. And try to enjoy the rest of your weekend the best you can. And y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend and hook 'em.